I was just a bar dancer, a girl people saw but never really noticed. Every night I stood under neon lights, smiling for strangers. But inside, I was slowly disappearing. That's when he came into my life. He was a mafia boss. Everyone feared him. His name alone made people step back. Cold face, sharp eyes, dangerous silence. But with me, he was different. He never spoke like a monster. He never treated me like I was less. He would just sit there, watching me quietly, as if I was the only real thing in his dark world. He didn't ask about my past. He didn't question my scars. He just said, "You don't need to explain yourself to me." And for the first time, I felt something I never had before. Safety, love, peace. But life was not kind to me. I was already sick, last stage cancer. A truth I kept locked inside me. I didn't tell him. Because how do you tell someone who finally found love that your time is already ending? So I made a mistake. I cheated on him. Not because I stopped loving him, but because I started thinking like someone who was already preparing to disappear. I thought, if I push him away, it will hurt less when I'm gone. I thought I was protecting him, but I destroyed everything instead. He found out. I expected rage. I expected punishment. I expected him to become the monster everyone believed he was. But he didn't. He came to me quietly that night. No guards, no anger, no noise. Just him, standing in front of me. His voice was low when he spoke. "Tell me it's not true." I stayed silent. That silence was my answer. For a moment, I saw something break inside him, but he didn't scream. He didn't hit anything. He just looked away, like he was trying to hold himself together. And then he said something I will never forget. "I gave you everything without asking for anything in return, and you still think I don't deserve the truth?" My heart shattered, but I still couldn't tell him, because I knew if I told him I was dying, he would never let me go. And I didn't want to become a burden in his life or a memory of pain in his future. Days passed. He stopped talking to me, but he didn't leave. He stayed close, quietly watching from distance, like he was waiting for me to come back to him. One night, I couldn't take it anymore. I went to him. I told him everything except the truth about my illness, and I said, "I'm sorry. I don't deserve you." He looked at me for a long time. Then he stepped closer, and instead of anger, he said, "I don't care what you did. I just don't want to lose you." And then he forgave me, just like that. No conditions, no revenge, no punishment, only love. And that broke me more than anything else, because now I knew the truth. He still loved me. But I was running out of time. Every day after that, I smiled more, held his hand more, listened to his voice more carefully, like I was memorizing it. He thought we were healing, but I was quietly preparing for goodbye. Sometimes he would say, "Stay with me. Don't go anywhere." And I would smile and nod, while knowing I was already halfway gone. Because how do you tell someone that the person they are holding on to is already leaving? Some love stories don't end with betrayal or forgiveness. They end with silence and time that was never enough. After that night, everything looked normal from the outside. He forgave me. He stayed. But nothing was the same anymore. He started watching me more closely, like he was afraid I would disappear if he blinked. And I started disappearing slowly every day. My strength was fading. My body was getting weaker. But I kept smiling, because I didn't want him to know. Because I knew, if he found out I was dying, he would never let me go. And I couldn't let him suffer like that. One evening, he took me to the rooftop where the city lights looked like stars on Earth. He stood behind me and said softly, "You're different these days." I forced a smile. "I'm fine." But he didn't believe me. He never did. He turned me around gently and looked into my eyes, and for a moment, I thought he already knew. But he said something I didn't expect. "No matter what happens, don't shut me out again." My heart cracked, because I was already shutting him out. Every second, every breath. That night, I went home alone for the first time in a long time, and I broke down. Not because I cheated him, but because I loved him too much to stay. A few days later, he found my medical report, the truth I hid. Last stage cancer. He didn't speak for a long time, just stood there, holding the paper in his hand. And then, he finally understood everything. Why I pushed him away. Why I stayed silent. Why I smiled when I was breaking. And for the first time, the Mafia boss who feared nothing broke down in silence.